Hey, this is Stephen Chun, event director, host, and MC for the 10th annual Asians on Film Festival of Shorts. And we're joined here by the director and musical composer of Bite Club. It is nominated for Best Ensemble Cast and Best Horror Thriller. Now, Kim, you are calling from Australia, and Dana, you are calling from Florida. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you,
No
Stephen.
problem. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Now, Kim, you were nominated for Best Horror and Thriller. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, one of your very first directorial debuts. It is in the genre of gore, blood, vampires, werewolves. Tell us about your film.
It is I would probably describe it as a supernatural action. I wouldn't probably describe it much as horror, but I think vampires and werewolves normally go into that genre. It's a lot of fun with a kick-ass soundtrack, and I just want people to be entertained, have fun. So yeah, hopefully when they watch it, that they will come out going, "Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun." Love the soundtrack.
How did it feel directing this for your first time, and what are your inspirations?
My inspirations are the movies like Underworld and Blade, Interview with the Vampire. Growing up, I read a lot of books with Anne Rice, and my favorite directors like Robert Rodriguez, Del Toro, and yeah, so I wanted they were one of my inspirations, and I'm also inspired by even though the movie focuses a lot on vampires and werewolves, there are actually a lot of entities that I have not yet been able to bring in, but there was a little bit of a hint of what they were, and I wanted to bring in a lot of mystical creatures from other what do you call it, cultures. There's a lot of Asian culture entities that are in there as well, which is what the characters, you probably don't know what they are when you watch the movie, and because there's a bit of a mystery, you're like, are they vampires, werewolves, are they demons? No. in if I got the chance, like when I wrote the full script, they are actually Asian dragons, which I wanted to put in there. So yeah, I wanted to create a world, a Bite Club world of supernatural entities that live among the humans, and would be a little bit different to what the other vampire movies that you would see, and eventually branch out and make people realize it's not just about vampires and werewolves. There are a lot of other entities in here, in this world. And yeah, so I think in a way there's not really one main character. There's so many different characters, and I wanted to focus on every single entity that we had in there.
So let's speak of now the entity of our soundtrack. So we have Dana. When you began your initial idea for the score of Bite Club, where did you start, Dana?
It was kind of interesting. I got the first rough cut and I watched a few minutes of it. And I had seen previously as well the trailer, the first trailer that came out. So I kind of got the vibe, this dark, ominous feel from the visuals that I was seeing. So when I popped in that rough cut, I watched about 3 minutes of it. It just hit me. I knew where she wanted to go. We had a little bit on notes, reading back and forth, and it just felt right to give that dark, ominous. I kind of went back a little bit and looked at, John Carpenter. I liked how he was using the synthesizers back in the 70s and 80s. So I wanted to add a little bit of modern synth. I'm a synth guy. Synthesizers are my thing. So I had to incorporate a little bit into that. But seeing the visuals and seeing that it really never got out of that dark, ominous vibe, I wanted to tackle it that way and really, really set the tone for the entire film from start to finish that way.
Dana, there was a band in the film, and their music was perfect for the underground scene. But did you compose their songs, or was that a band you put together, or was that an existing band?
Interesting question. Thank you. I put together back, I think it was like 2015, 2014, we started recording, but KP Rye Brigade, it was myself that I put together with members of Ministry, Chem Lab, Riggs, founding member of Rob Zombie.
Yeah, yeah.
So we all got, we got together and we put out an album, and some of that just happened to fit perfectly. Kim selected it and got in touch with me, and I was like, yeah, for sure, let's do that. That's kind of initially how we got started on the soundtrack. There's Kim had selected some songs, and we actually have two of them in there. One in the end credits, and then one during the raid as they're going in.
I just wanted to pitch in the band that's actually in the movie. That was already an existing band in Brisbane, and I selected them and asked if they wanted to be in the movie
because they were good.
Yeah.
That's
good. Yeah, they had a blast, and they were great. I mean, they've never done this thing before. They've never been in a movie before, and yeah, they really enjoyed it, and they were real troopers. You know, shooting all day,
So
all
Kim,
night.
two-part question: where did you shoot, and was it a challenge to incorporate the band in any of the scenes? Because we have Dana's composition as well as the band playing throughout the entire nightclub scene, even during the raid. But were there any challenges? And also answer, where did you shoot this?
We shot in Brisbane, or we shot mostly at a warehouse location in Brisbane, and fortunate to find a great warehouse to use, and everything shot in Brisbane. And the challenges, there's a lot. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of challenges in filmmaking, but on the day of the shoot with the band itself, it wasn't challenging at all. It was great. It was they were really easy to direct, and the crew that I had and the cast that I had, they were incredible. They were amazing.
You had a secret weapon, and it was a child actor, and
Yeah.
she was oh so cute. And we'll keep it at that because I don't want to spoil it. Hint, hint.
Oh, she's great. She is great, and this was her first big screen debut as well.
And is she from Australia as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Dana, speaking of challenges, Kim wrote off that there weren't that many challenges, and that's wonderful to hear, being your first time. But Dana, in regards to the musical composition and the scoring, what challenges did you have, if any, during your role with the film?
Thanks, Stephen. Honestly, there wasn't that many challenges. I think Kim and I, we developed this rapport together. We've become great friends, and we clicked. We knew she had a vision, and it was very clear, how she wanted, music from the bands for the soundtrack. Then we got into doing the scoring, and it was just such a seamless process, which tends not to happen a lot in film. You see directors and producers bucking heads with composers and can't meet in the middle or things like that. We didn't have any of that on this film. It was such a pleasant and wonderful experience. Kim, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dana made the film so much better. It was incredible. I mean, it's such an honor to work with Dana. I can't believe, we've got him on our film.
The one piece of advice that I've learned over doing multiple films, and especially with Fight Club and others, I think Kim can attest to this, it has no reflection on us, is that when you're working in a film, it's a team effort and collaboration. And a director, producer, the one thing that they never want to hear is no, and it can't be done. So always drive yourself to be resourceful, right? You have to be resourceful. You have to think on your feet, be a problem solver, and never say no. There's always a way to do something and to find out how to do it, and always support that artistic vision of the director and the producer.
For those that have not watched the film yet, you mentioned that there are some entities that you wanted to explore, and you did in this film. Why did you choose that? And it was specifically for the reason you just didn't want it to be a normal vampire film. So why did you choose, I guess, that sect of focus for entities to be translated through your work?
That's a good question. Yeah, the vision was all in my head. The whole story was all unfolded in my head, and I wanted to create a world and explore these entities, and just make people aware that different cultures have all these different entities, that and it's not just vampires and werewolves that exist. There are many different mystical creatures in different cultures, and one of the mystical creatures that I loved were the Asian ones, and I'm really excited to be able to hopefully in the future bring those out into the world, because I guarantee it's going to be explosive. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to have a lot of Asian talent in there as well. But that's one thing that I was really proud of in Bike Club. There are many different cultures that are in Bike Club, and I had a lot of actors that were in there, like there was someone from New Zealand, Asian as well, Aboriginal. There was different from all different cultures that are in there, playing different entities, but I wasn't able to kind of focus on them at that in this really short movie. So hopefully in the future, in the not so distant future, we'll be able to explore that a lot more.
I've been joined here with our guest, Kim, director and musical composer Dana, nominated Best Ensemble Cast and Best Horror Thriller. Thank you two so much for joining us. You be safe wherever you are in the world, but thank you again for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.